What's up, Warriors of Jigoku? Welcome back to a discussion video. We haven't done these in forever. And this is going to be a really fun one, I feel, because I have been wanting to do this for a very long time. So I've been wanting to do one for this with Samurai Warriors, and I've also been wanting to do one for Dynasty Warriors 4 as to why that one is my favorite and everything. And eventually I want to maybe I don't know, the tier lists have been pretty fun to me, and I know apparently you all have been enjoying it too, so I might also do ones for like my favorite Warriors games as well down the line. We'll see how that goes too. So here's how this is going to work. I'm going to give a quick disclaimer real quick. You're looking at the title, and I can tell. I can see it right now. I'm looking through to you right now. Well, I'm technically not. Kuno is looking through you right now, right there on the right. We can see that you are judging this video already. Not be quick to do that because I am not voicing a fact. I'm not trying to make you guys realize that Samurai Warriors is better than Dynasty. No. No, this is just an opinion. This is just my personal opinion. This is not the voice of God. This is not the voice of Koei Tecmo. This is not the voice of Omega Force. This is not the voice of the entirety of the fan base. This is just my opinion. Just mine. And of course, guys, if you have your own opinions, for one, be nice about it to each other. And second, let me know which one you prefer, and let me know which one you think is better. Do you like Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors better? Which one do you think is better? Be sure to give your reasons to it as well. Be sure to give some pretty good reasons. Don't just say it's better because I played it the longest. I need something better than that. I'm sorry. I know if you've only played one of the series, then I don't know. Make sure you tell me why you haven't played Samurai Warriors or Dynasty Warriors yet. Tell me why not. But all right, so yeah, this is what is going to go on here. So I have a couple bullet points here. We're not going to go over every single possible thing because I'll probably be sitting here for hours upon hours, and I really don't want to be doing that. So let's hop into this and let's share some thoughts and discuss with one another. So the first thing I have on this bullet point right now is story mode. The story mode has we're going to be talking about the entirety of the franchise here, just so you know. We're going to be going from Dynasty Warriors 2 to 9 and comparing it to Samurai Warriors all the way up to Spirit of Sanada. So keep that in mind. And obviously we're not going to do any like the stupid like sideshow games that they've done like every now and then. We're not going to be doing that stuff. Just the strict based ones of like Dynasty Warriors 2, Dynasty Warriors 3, Dynasty Warriors 3 Extreme Legends. We're not going to be putting the Empire stuff in here because then it would just be all over the place. So the Empire series is going to be out of here. We're just going to be focusing on Samurai Warriors Extreme Legends, Dynasty Warriors, and Dynasty Warriors Extreme Legends. And of course, we're also going to be putting Spirit of Sanada in there just to sprinkle it in just a little bit. So yeah. Ooh, buckle up. This is going to be quite the ride. So yeah, like I mentioned, we're going to be doing the story mode first. So obviously you all know from Samurai Warriors 1 through 3, we had it so where we would have individual story modes for each character. And at first, the roster for Samurai Warriors was pretty small, so this was no really huge deal to me. Like, oh, okay, so there's just this and this. And they also have, in the first game, and they also have it to where they branch off and do some hypothetical shit if you do some certain objectives right. That's really dope. Then they went a little more, then they still went hypothetical in Samurai Warriors 2 at times, but at times also gave a little bit of a historical sprinkle in there too, which was still, in my opinion, really cool. Samurai Warriors 3, I will have to say right now, I think is utter garbage on the Wii, which is why I don't like Samurai Warriors 3 at all. I like their combat system, though, because I played the shit out of Samurai Warriors characters in Warriors Orochi, but they went definitely way more historical in Samurai Warriors, which wasn't really bad because they were giving hypothetical sprinkles here and there in 1 and 2. So that's where that stuff kind of just like, oh, I let it go because I was like, all right, time to actually hear the whole entire history of this whole entire thing. It's pretty cool. So they ended up doing that. They had a couple historical and hypothetical sprinkles in with their story modes, which also helped grow out the character and character development, which was really dope. I really did like it. Then we go on to Samurai Warriors 4, where you have different factions, where you just go by different factions or different versions of the story modes. So you would have like the Sanada with that, and then you would have the Tokugawa and everything, or the Western and Eastern armies and all that crap, which was really cool. They definitely went more historical in the base game, 100%. Pretty much just 100% historical there. But they did it in a different way where you could at least pick from a variety of characters that were involved in that battle, which made it even more fun to me because I had a different variety of characters and all that. And they also had, if you picked certain characters, had their own objectives that only they could do, which I found was really cool and gave importance to hop back into the story mode and do those objectives and play as those characters. So I gotta say, big plus to that. And now we're going to be comparing that to the Dynasty Warriors one. So the Dynasty Warriors ones, we'll mention the ones from 2. We're not going to mention the very first game because the very first game was a fighter. So we're just going to be mentioning Dynasty Warriors 2 through 9. So we're just so you know. I don't know if I mentioned that previously. But so for Dynasty Warriors, so from 2 to 3 to 5 to 6, they were into 9. They all had their own. They all made it so every single character pretty much had their own story mode. We're not going to mention with 6 only having a certain amount of characters with story modes. We're going to just mention that pretty much every game had every character give their own story mode. The only thing I didn't really 100% like about that was mostly every single story mode was a complete copy and paste. If you played for like one person, it was a copy and paste of just playing as that previous character from like the Way Forces. So say I wanted to play as Zhang Liao, did that, and then we played as like, I don't know, Cao Cao, who pretty much plays as every single mission through the game. It's pretty much a copy and paste of all of that. You're just playing as a different person, which in a way it's cool, but at the same time, there's not much difference, and there's no reason to hop back in because you're just playing the same thing just with a different character. And at times, even though that's a giant roster, with the way that the combat system, or the way with sometimes the cloning is, and which we'll mention that as well, there wasn't really much reason to hop back in my opinion. And I didn't really feel that much fun with those characters that I did in Samurai Warriors, which is another discussion we'll be bringing up. But then Dynasty Warriors did do something cool with 4, 7, and 8, was where you would hop in with a certain faction and just play with... in 4, you could play with any character you want in that faction and just go through it like that, which was one of the reasons why I like Dynasty Warriors 4 the most. And then you go through Dynasty Warriors 7, where it kind of just made you lock onto one specific character. You couldn't change it or anything, and the story mode was all that and stuff. So you could only play as one character in each mission of the story mode, and it was only a single player in Dynasty Warriors 7, which really royally sucks. So if I had a friend I wanted to play story mode with, I couldn't. But then they ended up changing that and putting it in Dynasty Warriors 8, where they kind of went the same route as Samurai Warriors there, with Samurai Warriors 4, where Dynasty Warriors 8, when you went into the story mode, you could play as different characters, but they would give you a certain amount, just like Samurai Warriors 4 does. And I think they would slightly change it up, which made it somewhat better. But then we go into Dynasty Warriors 9, like I said, it's pretty much just a copy and paste of the story modes and everything. There's not much change. Sure, there might be a couple different missions that only certain people have, but it felt kind of just... It felt overplayed, and not to mention the combat system in that game is not that great either. But we're going to be mentioning all that stuff later. So yeah, in my opinion, Samurai Warriors definitely takes the win over in story modes, simply because they went a lot of hypotheticals, which is what I adore in these games. I don't mind it being like the first 1 or 2 games with being completely historical. And then in Samurai Warriors, they went historical and hypothetical. And then it took 3 games for Dynasty Warriors to have hypothetical stuff in Dynasty Warriors 4, where they had hypothetical stages here and there, which was really dope. Really, really dope. I really did like it. It was really cool. But it took 3 games. And it took Samurai Warriors 1. Let that sink in. And of course, with the Extreme Legends stuff, there was a lot more hypotheticals and everything there. It's harder to compare the two, because the hypothetical stuff was always there for like every single Extreme Legends ever. Because with the other forces with Extreme Legends, which is pretty much the focus of that game, it's pretty much you playing as all the characters that you couldn't in the base game, and then playing their story modes in Extreme Legends. And then they pretty much had their own hypothetical stuff and all that stuff. In Dynasty Warriors 4, all that stuff was already there. You didn't need Extreme Legends for that, which was really dope. But yeah, all in all, I say, in my opinion, Samurai Warriors story mode definitely takes the win over that. And next we have the next bullet point that we're going to try to move on here. I don't want this to be extremely long. Next we got the combat system, which this is probably going to cause some controversy, because I know there are a decent amount of people who do like the combat system in 9, but there's also a lot who don't like it in 9. And of course, the Renbu system is just a god-awful system. I question you if you are a big fan of the Renbu system. But moving on to that. So Dynasty Warriors has had their combat system changed 3 times. One where they had the original combat system. Well, technically, let's see here. So they had the regular combat system in 2, where you would only have 4 charge attacks and 4 or 5 normal attacks. And then they upped that to where it would be like 7 charge attacks and 7 normal attacks and everything, which was cool. They improved on Dynasty Warriors 2 and made it better in Dynasty Warriors 3 and 4. And then in Dynasty Warriors 5, they improved it to where you could have more charge attacks if your Muso was up high enough, which was really cool. It would make it like a charge attack / normal attack system in Dynasty Warriors 5, where you could include more normal attacks that looked like charge attacks, in that if you had a Muso gauge up high enough. Then they went to Dynasty Warriors 6, and they made a big mistake with that Renbu system. A really huge mistake with that Renbu system. That Renbu system is probably still, in my opinion, the worst combat system in Warriors history. I'm sorry, that Renbu system was just terrible. Horrible. I don't know what made them think, oh, Renbu system would be a great change. I'm okay with change, but I'm not okay with something that drastic and something that ends up being that horrible. And then they went back to the regular system in Dynasty Warriors 7 and 8 and all that. And then they went into a new combat system in 9, which I'm not going to say I hate, but it's meh at this point. I've honestly, at first I liked it, but now I've been playing it more and more. I find it meh. So they've made so many changes with the combat system and everything, and it's at this point just gotten very annoying and tedious. Like, if people like the original combat system, just improve on that. But they've been just trying to change it, like, drastically every single time, which has been kind of obnoxious at this point. But now that's the big difference with Samurai Warriors. Samurai Warriors has had, technically there's 2 combat systems where you have like a bunch of squares and then a triangle, or a bunch of normal attacks, and every single normal attack has a charge attack with it. Or if you have the combat system with the original one, where there's pretty much a couple normal attacks and there's like 4 or 5 charge attacks. So those 2 combat systems honestly are really cool, and they also help diverse out some of the characters as well. And then, to add on to that, they even added in a hyper attack system so you can plow through enemies. Now, I know some people aren't a huge fan of the hyper attack. I personally adore it. Obviously, it doesn't work against officers, which I get, which makes sense because that's too OP'd. Because you don't want to plow through just officers. You want them to be a challenge. Plowing through soldiers and everything, that's fine. That's why I love the hyper attack, because it helps clear out the area quickly, especially if you're in a rush. But what I'm trying to get at is, with the Samurai Warriors combat system, they've been just keeping it the same, but improving on that. They've been adding stuff to that combat system to make it even more fun. That's why I, in my opinion, find that to be way more enjoyable than just some silly old thing where they have to keep changing it to keep it fresh. And then people hate the new combat system, and then next game, oh look, the original combat system's back. But they don't add anything to it. So, in my opinion, they could add on, for Dynasty Warriors, they need to add on to what's already good, like Samurai Warriors has done. Just improve the original combat system. Don't keep changing it. That's my opinion. That's why I also think Samurai Warriors has a one-up on there as well. And then to mention, it's pretty much a mixture in here with replayability that I mentioned earlier and the combat system as a whole. Cloned weapons. Now, me personally, they've had a lot of cloned weapons with like cloned normal attacks and everything in Dynasty Warriors until 8. Like, a lot of people have had cloned movesets and everything. Musos would be different. Charge attacks are sometimes different. But they've had cloned movesets for a long time, and I really don't get the huge gripe that people have. They got really spoiled with 8, in my opinion, where everyone was different. But for some reason, people really just don't like the clone system, even though it's been in almost every single game aside from 8. 6 had it. 2 had it with normal attacks. The only things that were slightly different were the charge attacks, but sometimes even those were the same, and people still were like, "Oh my god, why are they doing clone weapons and all that?" You all liked it beforehand. You didn't complain about it until after 8, in my opinion. But that's not what I'm here for. We're still mentioning the downside for clone movesets regardless. So for clone movesets here, Dynasty Warriors definitely takes a bad hit against Samurai Warriors here, because Samurai Warriors, believe it or not, they don't have any cloned characters. Obviously, I mean, if you do CACs and everything, yeah, people are going to be cloned because they don't have as many diverse characters as Samurai Warriors. And quite honestly, at times, thank God they don't. But for the combat system in Samurai, or for the cloned weapon in Samurai Warriors, there is none. You have no cloned characters. They just keep making different weapons and everything, but they're also not completely out there like Dynasty Warriors had to go for 8. Like, you had ones with cannons and shit that weren't even part of that time of the history. You would have cannons and all that crap, which was completely utter ridiculous. But then they did bring back cloned weapons in Dynasty Warriors 9, and they've had cloned weapons to where, in other games, to where it kind of did hurt replayability, because you're like, well, I played as this character, why would I play as this other character? They're pretty much played the exact same way. In Samurai Warriors, that's not the case, where they would have their characters completely different. And it even helps when they have like 2 separate kinds of combat systems as well, which is really amazing. In Samurai Warriors, everyone's weapon is different. The movesets are completely and utterly different. Obviously, some of the combat system mechanics are going to be the same, but like moves and all that are all different because they all have different weapons. It's really cool. So that really helps with replayability and wanting to keep playing because everyone's different. So you're looking forward to seeing what this character is going to be like and what that character is going to be like. In Dynasty Warriors, you don't really get that feeling because, like I mentioned, you kind of get the same character. If you play as, like, let's say, if you play as Zhang Bao, what the fuck's the point of playing as Zhu Shang? Like, there's no point. There's literally no point because they both have the exact same weapon and everything, and moveset pretty much. So there's literally no point to play as them. Sure, you want to go through their story, but at the same time, like I mentioned with story mode, sometimes some of the characters, especially if they're in the same force and have the same weapon, like let's take Zenji and Saiwenji. Same weapon, same force as story mode. Why would you play as both of them? There's no point. So something like that, they really dropped the ball on. Now, if they went with clone movesets, but had it to where like different factions had, like if not two of the same character from the same faction, like Zenji and Saiwenji, if they both didn't have a whip, then that wouldn't be an issue. But they're both in the same faction, so they go through the same kind of battles, and not to mention they also have the same weapons. So what the hell is the point of playing as them? That's my opinion right there. That's an utterly pointless thing to do. If there were, like let's take Diao Chan and Zenji, though. Good example. They're completely different story modes, so of course you'd want to probably play through those because they have different story modes and everything. That's fine. But when you have Zenji and Saiwenji on the same force, going through the same battles pretty much, there's no point. In Samurai Warriors, you don't have to worry about that at all because you go through different story modes. You play with different weapons and everything and different characters. There's really... You want to keep playing through the game with these characters, which is why the clone movesets definitely takes a hit, especially against Samurai Warriors, where it's all unique. But yeah, so that's one thing right there. And that actually does go onto the replayability, which was the next bullet point, but there's really no point to go on about that at all. There's really absolutely no point because we pretty much just mentioned replayability there. So we killed two birds with one stone. There you go. And next we have character development. This is a huge one for me. This probably isn't a huge one for you guys. You probably are just guys who just want to just mow down soldiers and to just call it a day. Who cares about character development? Who cares about story and all that jazz? For me, I'm kind of one of those people who I want to mow down people, but I also want a good story, and I want to be attached to these characters as well. And Dynasty Warriors, I feel it's hard because they're just like literally they're just warriors who just want to just do something for their lord or some shit. In Samurai Warriors, you can really feel that they have their own intentions. They have their own stuff. Like, and here's actually a good one to help out Dynasty Warriors here. The Jin, even though they're full of traitors and shit, Jin has a bunch of characters that have their own intentions, their own ambitions, which is why you see so many rebel against the Jin, against the Sima clan. Like Xiahou Ba, he had his own intentions. Zhong Hui, his own intentions. Zhuge Dan, his own intentions. People give a lot of flack to the Jin dynasty, but you gotta give them a lot of credit because you actually can feel that kind of connection with those characters because, like, they want to do their own thing. They don't want to just be stuck with their own lore, go against what they don't like and all that crap. Because you see that a lot in the Wei forces where, like, Cao Cao makes very questionable decisions, and someone like Zhen Yu who's like, I don't like this stuff, but he's still obediently with Cao Cao to the end, pretty much. And then it's stuff like that that just kind of, like, it's dumb. Like, I wish that they went a little more... That kind of stuff like that... I mean, if they did do that, there would probably be a lot of, like, hypothetical, like, rebellions and stuff. But that would be cool, because they keep trying to stick to historical shit way too much. It's crazy. That actually will be the next topic, actually, because I want to mention the historical and the, I want to mention the historical and hypothetical stuff, too. I know we kind of went a little bit into it with Samurai Warriors, but I want to go more into it again, because this actually does help with character development here. So, once again, with the character development, though, the character development is just really, really good in Samurai Warriors, because each character has their own story, and they have their own kind of, like, objectives, ambitions, or goals, and that you're trying to meet through you want to be able to help them get through that in their story modes. In Dynasty Warriors, you're kind of just like, alright, well, I'm just trying to get through the end of this chaos. That's it. But everyone has their own goals. Someone like Yukimura even has his own goals. Nobuyuki has his own goals. Ieyasu has his own goals. Someone like Keiji has his own goals. Like, everyone has their own goals in mind, and even though they're not even like, some of them aren't even like rulers or anything like that, they still have their own goals. They still have their own stuff that they want to go through and everything. So of course, you want to be able to go through those stories with them and be like, holy crap, I really want to help them achieve this goal. And not to mention, you really get to feel their fleshed out personalities and everything like that in Samurai Warriors, which feels so good because now you can feel that great attachment that I wanted to feel in Dynasty Warriors. We're like, oh, well, I'm just here obediently with my lord, just trying to help them go through the chaos and all that crap. Which also helps in the hypotheticals, so we can pretty much move on from that kind of stuff right now. With the hypotheticals and everything, with that, the hypotheticals really does help flesh out the characters and everything in Samurai Warriors, because it helps give them a side of them that we didn't really get to see in the historical paths and everything. So now we're able to see them in the hypotheticals, which helps flesh out the character and give them more personality and more attachment to them. Like, let's give, for instance, Kishosho. I didn't give a single flying fuck about Kishosho until Samurai Warriors 4-2 came around and they had this hypothetical scenario. It was so cool, especially with someone like Naomasa as well, who I think it was just completely and utterly historical, but they focused on that one character. It was so good. They focused on one character and gave him a whole story mode to himself so we could feel fleshed out and everything and have more of an attachment to him and see the character development in Naomasa. It was so good. I mean, they better give him character development if he was the flagship boy for, or cover boy, I should say, for Samurai Warriors 4 too. But yeah, like, it was so good. And there's also, with characters in general, in my opinion, there's so much more likable characters in Samurai Warriors than Dynasty Warriors. Like, they all, like I said, they all feel like plastic warriors are just like, oh, I'm obeying my lord. But that's also why I like the Jin Dynasty more, because they don't really have that thing where they're just like, I'm obeying my lord. Completely stupidly obedient. Like, these characters are obedient to their own goals and to themselves, which is what I really love about Samurai Warriors more. It's just that they have so much more obedience towards themselves and their own stuff that you don't really care about, like, oh fuck, I forgot about this, like this being the final battle and all that crap. Like, no, that you're wanting them to reach the end of their goals. That's what you want them to do. That you want them to achieve their goals, because that's where all their feelings and everything are going into. In Dynasty Warriors, you don't feel that connection. In my opinion, I never felt that connection with those characters like that. So when you go through all the hypotheticals and everything with, like, with Kishosho, for instance, you feel like you really want to be able to be Kishosho and be able to protect your, I guess, I don't know why I was about to say sibling. You want to protect your protege, Gracia. Like, you want to be able to be there to protect her because you want to be able to keep that bond afloat. And that's exactly what you do, and you feel like the struggles Kishosho feels and everything when she's not with Gracia, and Gracia as well. You feel more attachment towards Gracia, too, which is awesome. You even feel more attachment to Magoichi during those kinds of story modes as well. It's really, really good. I love those story modes to death. Like, I have felt such huge connection to every single character because of their hypotheticals, and so just the way Koei Tecmo did the Samurai Warriors characters as a whole. Now, let me just say this, probably to just end it at this point. Obviously, Samurai Warriors would have a lot more going towards it than Dynasty Warriors would, because Dynasty Warriors likes to do a lot of changes and everything, and they usually get released first, the Dynasty Warriors games, and then Samurai Warriors comes out after. And that's kind of what I feel like is going to happen for Samurai Warriors 5 as well if they do it. I think people have said they're doing it, but if they do end up doing it, because I don't see anyone confirming it at this point, to me at least. They're able to learn from Dynasty Warriors, I feel, and then make Samurai Warriors that much better, in my opinion. Like, Samurai Warriors pretty much has that, like, thing above Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors comes out, they take the stuff that the people didn't like at Dynasty Warriors, and then don't put that in Samurai Warriors. They learn from Dynasty Warriors, pretty much. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Samurai Warriors 5 comes out if they do it. And I'm really hoping if they do another Dynasty Warriors game, learn from your mistakes. Please learn from your mistakes. Like, you could hear the pain in my voice there as I cracked up. Learn from your mistakes. So overall, I have to say, because of pretty much stuff like that, obviously Samurai Warriors, in my opinion, would be better. I also started off with Samurai Warriors, so that's where I'm very, very biased with everything. About that, I started off with Samurai Warriors, and then I started playing some Dynasty Warriors, but I still got really more attached to Samurai Warriors in the end. Mostly because I felt attachment to characters. Characters were all unique and different in moveset. The story modes were amazingly done, historical and hypothetical. And they don't just sprinkle in characters that don't have meaning. Dynasty Warriors does that. They sprinkle in characters that don't have meaning in it at all. Or they're characters that don't even exist. Huh. Who would have guessed? Like, for things like that, they need to tone it down with bringing in characters that don't matter, because there's a lot of generals and stuff in each army of Dynasty Warriors that do matter, but they keep giving us hypothetical characters or characters that aren't important at all. Like, I don't get why they would do something like that. Give us characters with more importance. That's what Samurai Warriors, I feel, does too. Each character has its own importance in the game, and that's why I feel more motivated to play as every single character. But alright, guys, this has been going on for about 30 minutes. This has pretty much just been a rant also about Dynasty Warriors. I know I felt like this. I didn't try to make this a complete and utter bash fest for Dynasty Warriors, but in a way, if I want to make my point about Samurai Warrior, in my opinion, of course, back to what I said, this is my opinion. When it comes to Samurai Warriors, I want to be able to show why I think this is better. So obviously, I'd have to go poop on Dynasty Warriors as well. Don't get me wrong, though. I love Dynasty Warriors. Dynasty Warriors 4 is hands down my favorite game of Warriors games in general. It's still one of my top favorite games. So there are still a lot of Dynasty Warriors games that I still love. I feel like this after 6, it took a nosedive, honestly, in terms of quality of the Dynasty Warriors games. But I think the only saving grace ever since was Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, with the very well done character creation and also the diversity in weapons and everything like that. But ever since, I haven't really played that many Dynasty Warriors games as much as I used to back in the day. 5, I played a lot of. 4, I played a shit ton of. 3, 2, I played a lot of. But the other games, I just kind of lost interest pretty soon. It was kind of sad. But with Samurai Warriors, I always give so much time. Even though I hated 3, I played a shit ton of 3 as well. I played a shit ton of 3. I played through the entire game already. It was a struggle, but at times it had its fun moments. But all right, guys, so I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop pretty much doing the bash fest of Dynasty Warriors 9 and everything. This will probably come out, so we'll probably won't get a Dynasty or a Dragon Ball content here because I really wanted to voice my opinion on this one. But yeah, guys, so this will be the end of the video. So guys, if you be sure to give your thoughts down in the comments of which game you like better, which game you think is better, and of course, 100% give your reason why. If you do like the discussion video that we just saw here, then be sure hit that like button and comment down. Like I said, comment down below as well. And of course, if you're new to the channel, then be sure to hit that sub button because we've been crushing that sub goal that sub button right now, and I appreciate all of you for it. All that being said, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Farewell.